Kart 8!
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is without a doubt my favorite racing game ever. And now that the DLC is out, it's time for me to make the biggest mistake of my entire life and rip off, steal, follow an easy trend, do similarly to my fellow creators, and rank all of them, going in order from Mario Kart Stadium all the way up to Wii Rainbow Road. And as we go, I'm sure I'm gonna run out of unique words, so fair warning for repetition. And also, I would like to get my biases out of the way. I'm a Double Dash baby, so I may have some bias for basically any Double Dash course, even the less good ones. I also tend to play on 200cc. Now, I'm not ranking these by how fun they are on 200cc, but I may subconsciously like or dislike a course if it's more fun on it or not. Also, this is the part of the video where I say, this is my opinion, except it's not. This is fact, and if you disagree, you better hit that like button and subscribe, or else I'm not gonna know that you're mad at me for rating Choco Mountain where it's not supposed to be. But anyways, let's get started with Mario Kart Stadium. This one is a classic. I remember before I even had a Wii U, I played this course at a GameStop kiosk and thought it was insane how good it looked. Now that I've played every course in this game so many times, I'll just say this is a solid starting course with incredible visuals. I feel like it's appropriate to start by putting it in C tier. It's the baseline of what a course needs in order to be good. Water Park. This used to always be my go-to course when playing with friends because it's fun to drive on despite how simple it is. It's not a bad underwater tutorial, but I don't have any friends anymore, so C tier. Sweet Sweet Canyon. Did you guys know that this is like that one Wreck-It? Have you guys seen Wreck-It Ralph? If it's a Disney, I'm sure you guys didn't understand this, but it's actually like this big reference to Wreck-It Ralph, except the water looks like piss, so D tier.
Thanks, Satan.
Swamp Ruins. If the last few races were to ease you in, this course is the game putting its dick on the table, where everyone pauses and just looks at it like, whoa, okay, we're gonna stop what we're doing because this is amazing. It's the first real step into Mario Kart 8's truly great track design. It swaps between zero gravity and normal with more than enough hazards and little shortcuts to take. And it is ridiculously gorgeous. I love the bright greens here. A tier for sure. And now it's taken its dick off the table and is doing a sick back handspring and landing directly in between the plates. This track is such an ideal example of what makes this game special. It's gimmicky without feeling intrusive and keeps the Mario circuit simplicity without feeling like any other Mario circuit. And you can headbutt the Mario sign. This is the best Mario circuit and a solid B tier. Toad Harbor. People online really like this stage for some reason. Mario Kart 8 really has a good knack for tracks that are just places like Water Park, Airport, and this one too. It actually does look like a harbor town with adorable little houses and it's all near the water. And I love the downhill parts and the multiple paths, but I think with all the city tracks in this game, this one has lost a lot of its luster. And again, people keep picking it online when I just want to play DK Mountain. Like, come on, bro. B tier. Twisted Mansion. Should have been Luigi's Mansion. Still kind of fun. C tier. Shy Guy Falls. Yes, here we go. This is one of, if not my favorite track in the game. It's got such a cool scale to it. Straight up, straight down, insanely fun moments, twists and turns. And I love tracks that are super dynamic like this. Plus, the Shy Guys make these cute little noises with the music. It's super alive. It never slows down. Every second of it is just exciting and fun. This is our first S tier, baby. Sunshine Airport. This is exactly what I wanted Water Park to be. Driving inside the airport is awesome, and I should be allowed to do it in real life. Flying off the strip, then passing by the plane taking off is such a sick moment, and I just realized recently that it mutes all other sound effects when you're under the plane because it's so loud. It's like I said with Toad Harbor. Tracks based on places like this tend to be very creative and fun, and I just wish we could go through the plane or drive on a flying one. A tier. Dolphin Shoals. This might be the most iconic track in the game. Back in 7, we had Cheep Cheep Lagoon, which was our underwater tutorial race. But in this game, the underwater tutorial race was still Water Park, but Dolphin Shoals is an evolution of Cheep Cheep Lagoon if you really think about it, as it's heavily underwater with an undersea focus. However, this one dials it up to 11. It's so expressive with so much happening. Remember 2 seconds ago where I wanted to balance on a flying plane? This game already knows that I want to balance on the Unagi, and it lets me do it. The music is already really good, so I don't need to mention that, but obviously the way that the sun and the music explodes when you get out of the water is so impactful, and it's perfect. S tier. Electrodrome. You already know this one's an S tier, right? S tier. Everyone always puts it in S tier. But I'm putting it in A tier. I mean, okay, it's good, visually gorgeous, with fantastic music, but I honestly think that the track design as a whole is a little bit weak. It feels like a star course visually, but a mushroom course in terms of actual racing. But again, the presentation is so great, and it's still so fun to race through. So despite that simplicity, it's still very solid. So I'm putting it in A tier, but keep in mind, that's a strong A tier. Mount Wario. Don't mind if I do. This is one of the few courses in the game with one long lap instead of 3 repeated ones, and it is perfect for it. It's all an intense, constantly changing downhill race, to the point where it goes from feeling like a racetrack to going off course inside of the mountain and through the woods. This is always going to be one of my go-to courses, and is right up there with Shy Guy Falls. S tier. Probably my favorite course in the entire game. Cloud Top Cruise. Another absolute jam. This track takes the idea of a Mario Kart track in the clouds and does every single idea it can think of. Sky-focused? Okay, then Mario Galaxy music, airships, we tend to have those in clouds. Storm clouds, we can race through one of those. It's so exciting, and it never ever stays in one place. In fact, I was going to put this in A tier, but screw it, this is S tier. Bone Dry Dunes is an obligatory desert level, and is probably the best of all of them in the series. The sunset's gorgeous, and the set pieces and paths aren't bad, but it also feels like the only Mario Kart 8 course that's not trying, so I'll put it in D tier. Bowser's Castle. Shut your stupid fucking mouth. This track is great. It's an evolution of the previous 2 console Mario Kart tracks, where Double Dash had a moving statue shooting fireballs. Wii had a similar statue that was a bit more active, and 8 has a full-on kaiju. It is an extremely dynamic track too. Not counting the statue, there's a ton of different anti-gravity parts, the castle feels alive and constantly changing, and the music is incredible. Is it a bit over the top? Maybe, but I'd still give it a high B tier. Very solid. Rainbow Road. I am a very big fan of this track. Could it have been more? Sure. Should it be more rainbow? Yeah. Is it bad? Absolutely not. It's still very fast, very beautiful, and it's still a blast to race through. I know it's soured for a lot of people because we literally have 4 others to compare it to, and I'd say at least 2 of those are also very high tier tracks. But I still really love this game's Rainbow Road and choose it constantly. I like the space station aesthetic. I like the road in general. A tier. Moo Moo Meadows. According to the game, this is my most played track. And I have no idea why. Like, yeah, the music's incredible, and the extra additions of ramps and the massive visual overhaul since we really do make it shine and make it very special. But, like, nostalgia aside, it's just B tier. GBA Mario Circuit. First off, why does this game have more than one course that I could easily mistake for this one? Second, other than the zero gravity, it's lame and very basic design-wise. If I had my way, I'd literally never play on this course, online or otherwise. D tier. Cheap Cheap Beach. This course is one of the ones that I see and immediately think, oh, gross, this one? But then I play it and go, oh, because it's actually quite good. I've mentioned a lot of courses being too simple, but simple doesn't always mean bad. It depends a lot on visuals, but also what exactly you're putting into that simple track layout. This course has optional underwater, decent hazards, and is just overall super solid. I'll put it in B for beach. Toad's Turnpike. Okay, so this course isn't that bad. I like the ramps on the cars and the wall driving, and it's pretty. I don't hate racing on it, but hear me out. We have Shroom Ridge, Moonview Highway, Neo, okay, maybe not that one, Super Bell Subway. The list goes on, each with similar gimmicks, and all are more fun to race on. This course has just kind of lost its identity for me, and it was already only around C tier. But now that we have all of these tracks to choose from, D tier. Dry Desert. Now, nostalgia tells me that this course is amazing, but I know it's not great. I like the new Oasis and all, but it feels like they chose this course before they had any ideas of how to actually remaster it. It's always been a pretty basic desert track, which is a trend that every Mario Kart has for some reason, which I really hate. But if I really wanted to play a desert course, I'd choose Cheeseland or even Bone Dry Dunes. In fact, honestly, put Bone Dry Dunes at the bottom of C. because this one is taking its place in D. Donut Plains 3. Every single SNES or GBA Mario Circuit track should look this good. It looks and sounds insane. Too bad it's boring to play on, so D tier. Royal Raceway. This one's not bad, but that's all there is really to say about it. I like the cherry blossoms. It's visually pretty, it's a decent amount of fun, and it's a pretty basic track. It's a lot of fun on higher CCs, but overall, C tier. DK Jungle. What a great track. I love tracks referencing specific games, and this one is fantastic. Donkey Kong Country Returns is one of my favorite games, so to see so many references to it and in a gorgeous looking track to boot warms my Donkey Kong loving heart. One of the best from the 3DS, and with as weird as this game's choices from 7 were, at least this one was gold. A tier. Wario Stadium. I love the structure of this one. It's a linear path through different obstacles, first ramps, then anti-gravity, then water. It's so neat, and it makes sense that it's so segmented like this because it feels like you're a performer putting on a show for the crowd in the stands. Low A tier, but A tier nonetheless. Sherbert Land. Another mid Double Dash level remade, but unlike the last one, this one's fantastic. It's so beautiful, and every change makes it more fun to race on. There's new underwater paths if you don't want to drive on the ice. There's tons of new gimmicks and ramps, and it just feels so much more fair to race on. B tier. Music Park. This is what I'm talking about with being simple but memorable and effective. It feels like every single part of this race is dictated by the music. It feels like every part of this track is dictated more by the music than what the racers are actually doing. The hazards, the roads, the shortcuts, all of it plays so hard to the theme that I can't put this any lower than A tier. Another great 7 choice. Yoshi Valley. Even though this track is made a bit lamer by having an objectively best path, it's still super fun to race on. Everyone is going in different directions. There's a big egg. The colors are warm. It's so fun. Although it does have the issue of if you don't know what path to take, it can feel a bit overly complicated. Not a track I go to crazy often, but one I respect a lot. And for N64 courses, I think that's more than deserving of B tier. Tick-Tock Clock. Though a few I like were missing, the DS selection in this game hits very hard. Again, I love specific level and game references, and this isn't just a really great Mario 64 reference, but it lends itself so hard to unique racing. Going through the clock's gears and hands never gets old, and it's a track that feels like it rewards you so hard for going fast and using its unique geometry to your advantage. A tier. You've really gotta hand it to these guys. Piranha Plant Slide, one of my favorite 3DS tracks. And yep, it's mostly the same as before. In terms of tracks that are heavily underwater, this one is still one of the most solid. The underwater part going zero gravity and feeling very noticeable is a great touch and makes an already dynamic and fun track even better. I also love how this feels like a more exciting and intense version of a traditional Mario underground level. That is insanely creative. If this was 7, it would be an S, but since this game's roster is so stacked, I'll leave it an A for now. Grumble Volcano. Not a bad Wii course, and it definitely changes for the better, with the visuals being great. Plus the ending where there's a lot of paths and the course is falling apart is still really fantastic. I think this is one of the most respectable B tiers in the game. N64 Rainbow Road. Okay, so this one is really hard for me to rank. It is so clear that this is the game's showstopper, and it does that so well. It's one of the best looking tracks in the series, if not the best. The music is incredible, the fireworks and town in the background are amazing. I really like it, and the fact that instead of 2 massive laps, it's just 1 keeps its pacing tight enough so you never get too much of a good thing. But in terms of design, is it really one of the best tracks in the game? It's really good, but it's mainly a journey through its incredible visuals. It's like a Disney ride where the track itself isn't stellar, but what you're seeing is impressive and cool. And because I feel like there's 2 other Rainbow Roads that do it better gameplay-wise, I'm gonna put it at the top of A, maybe bottom of S, depending on how I feel once we get to the next Rainbow Road. Now, for 8's original DLC, Yoshi's Circuit. So I haven't usually been a giant fan of this track lately. I was gonna put it in B tier, because I felt that once you get over the fact that it's shaped like Yoshi, it's just kind of a basic circuit track. But after playing through all 96 racetracks in this game so many times, I still have a great time on Yoshi's Circuit, and I'm excited to play it with my friends now, as weird as that sounds. So I'll put it in A tier now. I was gonna put it in B because I remember not liking it so much, but it's earned its space here. Excite Bike Arena. Fuck you. This track slaps. Look at all these tricks I'm doing. And the map's ramps are RNG based. This is sick. I fucking love ovals. S tier. Dragon Driftway. I feel like with how little I tend to care for more normal tracks without any gimmicks, Dragon Driftway should rank relatively low. But I don't know, maybe it's because of the visuals or the fact that the anti-gravity leads to more intense racing, but I really enjoy it. It's not a track that I pick constantly, but it's very good. Top of B. Mute City. This track is so fun. It's so intense and speed focused, and I feel like it's one of the tracks that pushes tryhard behavior the most. You'll always be violently fighting for first, and it's never not intensely fun. I'm putting it in A though, because there's one better later on. Wario's Goldmine. This track used to infuriate me in Wii. But in this game, it's pretty great. The hazards still get in your way, but with good play, they become useful for keeping your speed up. The tighter controls in 8 also mean it's less slippery to drive on as a whole. The theming and layout are fantastic overall. It's a good A tier. SNES Rainbow Road. I like to choose this one whenever my friends don't want to be frustrated, so I can ruin their day with its tight layout and easy to fall off roads. B tier. And as for N64 Rainbow Road, fuck it, move it to S. Ice Outpost. This track isn't bad, but it definitely feels like it was a track cut before all the gimmicks were decided and then added back in later. I really like the 2 tracks and the different shortcuts, and especially the music, but I won't come back often. C tier.
Ice is nice.
Hyrule Circuit. Now with this track, people tend to really like the theming, but not the track design itself. Yeah, the theming is quite good, but the large amount of empty fields, lack of real gimmicks, and basic track design aren't all that amazing. I'll give them credit, it really does feel like a circuit track, but that's also its biggest failing. C tier. Baby Park. I feel like it'll make you guys mad if I just put this in S where it belongs. Oval's Rule. Fuck you. Cheese Land. A lot of people really like this one online, probably because it's good for bagging, but I don't know. The music is amazing and the track layout's pretty good too, but the visuals are lacking for me. I wish it looked more like cheese, less like a desert. Also, you should put it in space. B tier. Wild Woods. This is what I expect from a DLC track. It is such a cool set piece, driving up and down a massive tree with tons of boosting and jumping from one branch to the next. There's also a short open area to grab items for going back to the more tight roadways. One of the best in the game for me. S tier. Animal Crossing. I don't prefer Animal Crossing to Zelda as a series, but in Mario Kart, Animal Crossing reigns supreme. It's not an insanely complicated track, but it stays dynamic and I love the season gimmick. I think what this track truly has over Hyrule is that the references tend to matter to the actual race more in this one. Rossetti, the rocks, the different weather, it can all change how you race. Plus, the backgrounds are absolutely chock full of references as well. A tier. Neo Koopa City. The concept of this track is great, but the execution is just nothing. Out of all the tracks to keep mostly faithful, this one? It's just a couple of turns in a fucking parking garage. I like the part where everyone online falls off at this one turn, but I couldn't even get footage of it because nobody ever wants to choose it. In 7, I would probably put this in C or D, but this is a remake pre-booster course, and it's still this uninteresting? F tier. Ribbon Road. We've gone over a couple, but you'll see as I go on that the GBA courses in this game are either really cool and original or really lazy and unfun. Luckily, here we've got the former. This course is gorgeous. I love the courses that make you tiny and go through normal now giant things. The track itself is a little basic, but the touch-ups to it in 8 really give it a big boost. A tier. Super Bell Subway. It's a race in a normal building where you can drive on trains and there's a bunch of different boost granting paths. A tier. Big Blue. As the closer to the original selection of 8, this is literally perfect. Some of the most open design with tons of chances for shortcuts. An incredible soundtrack. It's super fast. My downhill bias is in full swing. I think that the way people look back on 7 for its Rainbow Road, people are going to be looking back to 8 for Big Blue. If F-Zero is truly dead, at least we got this course out of it. S. Now it's time for the other half of the game. Why did I do this? Paris Promenade. Oh boy. Okay, city courses. A lot of them are pretty dull, so some I might not have many words to say about them. Anyways, Paris, as expected of the French, the course isn't all that great. It's neat to drive around the city, but the course itself is just so It's so dull. It's just roads, an occasional turn, and then when it changes, you wouldn't even be able to tell that it changed if you didn't see people coming from the opposite way. Plus, my buddy Joey says he likes it, so it's probably F tier. Toad Circuit. Okay, so in Mario Kart 7, I would leave this in C tier. It is a nothing track to introduce you to the game, and has a small bit of hang gliding to ease you in. But why is it not only an 8, but in its 5-year later DLC? I would be just as mad if it was Luigi Circuit from Double Dash or Wii, or Figure 8 Circuit. It's not something that should be coming back in your DLC 5 years after launch. It's not an awful track, but it never ever should have even been here. F. Choco Mountain. I hope I didn't give off the impression earlier that I hate the N64 tracks, because I really don't. I think that most of them are decent to great, and here's my prime example. I think Choco Mountain uses the simple designs of the N64 tracks very well. I love the falling boulders near the cliff, and it makes for some really fun and more precise drifting. And as a whole, the track has some very fun drifts and shortcuts. If anything, I just wish there was more of the more intense stuff and less of the generic mountain stuff. B tier. Coconut Mall. This one's a bit hard because visually it could have been a lot better. The level as a whole just isn't really as good as the original Wii version, which you think, like other tracks like Neo Bowser City, would knock it down. But unlike Bowser Town, Coconut Mall was originally really good. It was one of the best, and the good stuff is still here. You've still got the sewer shortcut. I like the gliding, and the cars do donuts. I think based on it still being this fun, I'll let it stay in A tier. Tokyo Blur.
What the hell is this?
When I tell you that we're getting a Mario Kart course based in Tokyo, you probably got a ton of ideas of what it could be like. Oh man, the busy streets, cars everywhere, driving around the Tokyo Tower, seeing all the cool city areas. Well, you get roads. Just basic ass roads in a small oval, and I fucking hate ovals. Why can't I race in those cool backgrounds? F tier. Shroom Ridge. I used to not get the hype around this track. It's common online, tends to be rated highly, and I just thought it was a boring street track. But now, I think this track is very solid. I love the new pipe shortcut. I love going along the cliffside. I love weaving through the cars while trying to keep my drift going, as this track has tons of great places to drift. I do think the long empty area isn't great, but outside of that, this course is rock solid. High B tier. You know what? A. Sky Garden. I don't care that this is so different from the original GBA track. As I've said, I welcome those changes, and this tracks aren't bad. But we already have a solid 10 times better Sky tracks with E tier. Ninja Hideaway. This course turns me on. Seriously, it is so fun and experimental, and there's so many ways to get to the goal, with obstacles that are totally unique from any other course. I think it has its reputation for a reason. If not for the less than stellar visuals, I don't think anyone would have guessed that this was from the booster course. It is intensely fun and encourages you to keep racing on it and improving your routes. S tier. New York Minute. This track is so close to being good. It actually feels like it likes the city it's based on, unlike the last two cities. You get some really cool alternate paths, and you feel like you're driving through the busy city, and the third lap is decently fun. But not only is most of the track uninteresting, but god damn did this track get hit with the ugly stick. I think this track, more than any other, really suffers from how ugly the first couple booster releases are. I think the more simple track design would have been easier to ignore, and the track easier to engage with if it wasn't so hideous and out of place. D tier. Mario Circuit 3. Why the fuck is this here? This is garbage. F tier. Calamari Desert. This track already starts off strong, but then halfway through completely changes as you go through the train tunnel. It's crazy because you expect it to stay similar to how it was in 7, but no, it completely goes against expectations in that second lap, and then it naturally transitions back in the third lap. Dodging the train while also trying to keep a high placement is so chaotic and fun. Easy A tier. Super surprising addition. Waluigi Pinball. S tier. I don't have anything new to say. It's insanely creative, and I think that all of New York Minute's graphics were traded so that this course would look good. It's still just as fun as it's always been, and is still one of the best tracks in the entire series. There's so many courses. Sydney Sprint. This track's music slaps. Like, the course itself is pretty mid. It's not great. It's a pretty basic tour course, but the music is so good. But wait a minute. Sydney's in Australia? Well, then where's the didgeridoo? C tier, Snowland. Now this is what I want out of my GBA tracks. Visually great, fun in a modern way while not losing its original charm. It's slippery while not being obnoxious and gives you plenty of space. The penguins are also great stage hazards that make you tighten your drift. And there's some really great shortcuts that I always nail. High B tier, Mushroom Gorge. This one might be controversial, but S tier, baby. This is my favorite Mario Kart Wii track, and it's even better here. The mushroom chain is even better than before with the smoother controls, and you have the easy but fun shortcut near the end. The music is next level. There's a blue mushroom that gives you a glider. It's fantastic. Sky High Sunday. This track is great. Fuck you. It feels so fast and so open to experimentation with the floaty controls. You're constantly bouncing around and going insanely fast. It's an oval. What can I say? Ovals are epic, but everyone wants to pretend that this course isn't fantastic. Are you serious? This map is great. You people want to pretend that Neo Bowser City is good, but this track is bad? This track is an absolute masterpiece, and it deserves its hard-earned spot in B tier.
Oh my dude, you just got pranked. Bet you didn't see that one coming, huh?
London Loop. Now, when you say loop, I think oval, but this course isn't that, so it sucks. But it's actually not that bad. I tend to get it and Paris Promenade confused because of the similar color palettes, but in all honesty, this is just a better version of that course. There's actual hazards, the track is pretty dynamic from lap to lap, and despite the fact that a lot of it is just generic roads, it actually feels like they wanted to make a Mario Kart racetrack out of it. Where did I put France? F tier? I'll move it up to D tier, but I'll put this one above in C. Boo Lake. My god. This course is so fucking good. Best Super Circuit remake, easily, and it takes the simple yet chaotic layout of that GBA track it's based on, and then it adds more flair with anti-gravity and underwater, and it's just so fun. It's one of the most competitive and chaotic tracks consistently online, and there's plenty of areas to make a comeback from while the track is so twisty and turny to make you want to improve more and more. S tier. It's great. Rock Mountain. Okay, so here's what should have happened here. Replace Toad Circuit with this track in Wave 1. Then in Wave 3, replace this track with either Wario Shipyard or a Woohoo Island course, because this track would have sufficed as the more simple 3DS track, because it's good, but nothing crazy. With the evolutions made in course design in 8, I feel like Rock Mountain's more exciting gimmick of a lot of gliding kind of got replaced by Shy Guy Falls. Does this make it bad? Absolutely not. I still enjoy it quite a bit, but only enough to set it in B tier. I feel like I'm using too many words for each track and that this video is going to be way too long. Anyways, Maple Treeway. Okay, so I've made some outrageous statements, and this will probably be one of them. But let me explain honestly why I'm not putting this course in S tier, instead of just saying fuck you. Like everyone, I really like this course, but I can't pretend that I'm completely satisfied with this rendition. I know it's par for the course for the booster pass, but this course is just not up to snuff graphically. Usually I'd let it slide, but Maple Treeway is one of the most visually impressive courses in the games it's shown up in. And this looks like you just up-resed a Wii track and nothing more. Plus, the fact that it has no changes at all is really disappointing to me. This track could have gone crazy with anti-gravity gimmicks, but it's just a 3DS version with pretty much no change besides how the Wigglers walk. What I'm saying is, I wish it was in the original release of 8 so that it could have truly lived up to its potential, or even later in the booster course with courses like Waluigi Stadium. But for what it is, I'm still giving it an A. Berlin Byways. This one was tough. I wanted to put it in D tier because it's so basic and lame, but it has womps in it and those are cool, so C tier. But then I realized this is just worse Shroom Ridge, so D tier. Peach Gardens. Now this was already a decently good one, but then they made it so you completely turn around and go backwards. This was such a cool and welcome change, and I wish more courses in the booster course got treatment that this and Calamari Desert got, because it makes them so much more interesting. A tier. Merry Mountain. Okay. Now comes the fuck yous. Merry Mountain is an absolute masterpiece. Going up the mountain where there's so much happening with the ability to ride on the tracks is awesome. The track is visually great with tons of love to the only time of year that I like. Now, many complain that the second half sucks because there's not as much happening when going down the mountain. When, you fool, you absolute brainless moron, that is the perfect metaphor for going from the exciting and fun Christmas season to the empty feelings of January. Except unlike real life, you can immediately go back to the good stuff. Ovals rock S tier. 3DS Rainbow Road. While I'd still say something like Mount Wario or Big Blue are my favorites in this game, I think it's hard not to call 3DS Rainbow Road the best course in the game. I'm a sucker for these one large lap courses, and this one really nails that with constantly changing roads over moons and planets. It looks fantastic. I love the way the road itself looks, and flying downwards towards the moon is always a visual treat. This is definitely one of my most played booster course tracks, and this, along with a few other tracks I've mentioned and have yet to mention, made it more than worth its price tag. S tier. Amsterdam Drift. I think this track starts off strong with gliding and Moo Moo Meadows ripoffs into the second lap, which has cool underwater portions, but then the third lap doesn't really do anything new or exciting, which does suck because the way it changes between laps 1 and 2 really makes you want to see what the third is going to be like. Why am I talking about this so much? It's a C tier. They're all the same. Riverside Park. More like Mario Kart 8 fucking GBA tracks, am I right? Nah, but this one's okay. The track is visually pretty with one of my favorite stage hazard enemies in the whole game. And it's solid all around, but it also doesn't do anything too crazy, and I don't have much to say about it besides that it's a solid B tier.
Swallow you in one go.
DK Summit. And now the booster course path starts to go sicko mode. I feel like Mount Wario wouldn't exist if this masterpiece didn't come first. But unlike something like Rock Mountain, this course still holds up in its own comparison. This course is so fast even the camera can't keep up with it sometimes, which does hold it back a bit, but I can't hate it too much. I always love these half-pipe tracks, and because of the piles of snow, there's legitimate reason to use those half-pipes, unlike in other courses. This is also one of the only Wii tracks in the booster course that didn't have to feel compromised or worse than the original. S tier. Yoshi's Island. God damn, this track is good. Feels like every inch of the background has some new reference to the game it's based off of. It's like a Disney ride that makes you feel so immersed in a cartoon world, except this time it's a race. The ending of it is so perfect too. Not only is it visually gorgeous, but you can activate the hidden platforms to land on to go into the level end screen from Yoshi's Island. Literally perfect. S tier. Bangkok Rush, a rare city course that isn't dull as shit. It's so diverse in where it takes you with different paths to take, and it's visually great. It's what New York Minute should have been. Bottom of A tier. DS Mario Circuit. Now, a lot of people were upset that we got this instead of Airship Fortress or DS Bowser Castle, or put in Baby Park another time. But that's just life. Like, I want a silverback gorilla to be my best friend, but my state just doesn't allow that. And it's just like how the state only allowed Mario Circuit DS this time. It's just a fact of life. So it goes in C. And C stands for crying due to lack of silverback gorilla. Waluigi Stadium. This track getting remade was not only a miracle, but what they did to it was also a miracle. Not only is it gorgeous, but they added new extra paths to make it more interesting. Why don't you guys ever choose this online? Why do you always choose Daisy Circuit or GBA courses, you assholes? Am I biased towards it? Yes, but I deserve to play on only this track. S tier. Singapore Speedway. Actually, no. This is what New York Minute should have been. I think my issue with these city tracks is that they can change every lap, but it's not usually a very interesting change. This one, however, is a perfect example of how these tracks can really use that potential. It goes high and low, there's tons of gliding with a beautiful backdrop. A tier. Athens Dash. What I like about this one is that it doesn't match any other city course. It's got a simpler design, but the scenery changes really kick it up a notch. Not incredible, but it's pretty good. B tier. Daisy Cruiser. Out of the two Daisy courses in this game, this is the one that actually deserves to get picked every race. I like that the bottom level is flooded now, implying the ship will soon sink and kill all who are on board. The area as a whole is just much more alive than it used to be, and similar to Waluigi Stadium, it's a good track that was improved in 8. High A tier. Moonview Highway. Another really good Wii track, and yet another reason to never play on Toad's Turnpike again. In fact, I can confidently just put this one like 2 tiers above Toad's Turnpike. Wait, that means putting it in B tier? Oh, we should really be moving Toad's Turnpike down to F tier. Oh, Moonview Highway's A tier, by the way. Shot. Squeaky Clean Sprint. Who told Mario he could make this level so good? I want an entire Mario Kart game where you're this small and every stage is just normal rooms made huge like this. The toilet pisses on you. S tier. LA Laps. This track starts off rock solid with the boardwalk and the beach, and then it completely drops in quality. It's a generic city, and then you go through oil fields because it's California. And like, I agree, because California is indeed a godless state, but like, you couldn't have made a better racetrack. C tier. Sunset Wilds. You say the sun doesn't set, so it's bad. I say the track design is lame, so it's bad. D tier.
Power of the sun.
Koopa Cape. I personally actually really like the open tube. I like underwater racing. I think it's neat. But my main issue is that this stage is pretty ugly. I mentioned this with Maple Treeway, but I'm really disappointed that this one didn't get the Waluigi Stadium or DK Mountain visual upgrades. It's good, but it could have been better. B tier. Vancouver Velocity. We had beautiful countries in this game so far. Greece, Singapore, Bangkok. Yet the best one according to this game is Canada? That one's almost as bad as France. It's basically France too. Yet this course is a masterclass. It's beautiful, it's dynamic. It's what all of the city tracks should have been. S tier. Rome Avanti? I don't know how to pronounce that. The guys making this level were just like, I love Rome. The Colosseum? I think there's a city in there. At least the people driving opposite you is better than the Paris level. I would still put it in B tier though. DK Mountain. Masterpiece. 10 out of 10. Best course in Double Dash. Best course in Wii, arguably. Perfection. The mountain has a face and you go down it. The graphics are incredible. The gap, it's still kind of there. All of it has been preserved so well. And it's so fun. S tier. Daisy Circuit. Stop choosing this online. For fuck's sake, this isn't a bad course, but why is it so popular? It's pretty, but it's just a circuit track. Not even the best one here, if you ask me. It's B tier. I don't get the love. I'm sorry. Piranha Plant Cove. Not quite the stunning achievement of Bathroom or Yoshi, but still very solid. It's Petey Piranha themed, and he's one of my mains, so that's epic. After this many tracks, I can't not be repetitive, but it is real good. I would have originally put it as B, but now it's an A. Maybe after I play it more, it'll be an S. But for now, A. Madrid Drive. Yeehaw! City courses are my favorite. And this one does something crazy by actually being kind of interesting. Instead of just being streets, there's a couple buildings and a fountain, and it's not ugly either. I don't know. B tier, I guess. They're all the same. Rosalina's Ice World. Very weird choice, but not too bad. I think it could have been visually better, but again, not bad. Could have better theming, but not bad. I'll put it in B. Actually, you know what? There's like nothing in C. Let's put it there. Bowser's Castle 3. And my energy is back up because this track is great. I don't actually know how much has changed from the original besides Mario Kart 8 gimmicks, but it's so fun and challenging to race on with tons of pathways, and it's the perfect track to master. One of the common online tracks that actually deserves the constant picks. S tier. We Rainbow Road. Oh, we're finally here. And you know what? This one's good. I used to say it was overrated, but I think similarly to this game's Bowser Castle, Wii Rainbow Road is the final evolution to the type of Rainbow Road Double Dash started and DS continued. It's the best version of this kind of Rainbow Road, and it's probably my second favorite right behind 3DS Rainbow Road. Easy S tier. Holy shit, we are done. I could probably edit this tier list, but I don't wanna. I am terrified to see this video's length. Anyways, Mario Kart is fun. I'm factually right. I'm never coming back. Jesus Christ, why the fuck did I do that?